Hiya, fellow PTA students. I am looking at the concave-convex rule, and, for whatever reason, it's just not quite making sense to me on paper. So I've gone through and I am doing some practice just with some doodles. So we're going to look at two joints. We're going to look at the GH joint and the knee joint, specifically looking at flexion, open and closed kinetic chain both ways. So we can kind of really see in active time how these things work functionally rather than just by a rote rule. However, the rote rule will prove to be correct as we go. So looking first at the knee, we're going to do open kinetic chain flexion. I am going to move the tibia into a flexion position. Make sure I'm selecting the tibia. There we go. We're going to rotate from around here, and you're going to note that as I go, if I were to just keep going, I would slide into the femur. So I have to move posteriorly as I flex. It's a good amount. So we can see that as we move posteriorly with our osteokinematic motion, we're going to make our notes here. As we are moving posteriorly for osteokinematic motion, we are also moving posteriorly along the joint. We are arthrokinetically moving posteriorly and osteokinematically moving posteriorly. So in this situation, we have a concave surface, the surface of the tibia, moving on a convex surface, the surface of the femur. And at that articulation, the convex is moving on the concave, and they are moving the same way. They are both moving posteriorly. So let's kind of blind ourselves to that one, reset a little bit, and we're going to put the femur and the tibia back in a kind of neutral position. And instead, we're going to, imagine that we're doing a kind of a squat. So this time we are getting some flexion, but we are getting a closed kinetic chain flexion. Now you'll note that again, they're going to kind of intersect if I keep going too far. So I am going to have to slide and slide and slide a little bit. And so in this case, we can see that in closed kinetic chain, the osteokinematic motion of the femur is posterior, but the arthrokinematic movement, the relationship here at the joint, is moving anteriorly. So in the case where we have the convex surface of the tibia moving on the concave surface of the convex surface of the femur moving on the concave surface of the tibia, as the osteokinematic motion is going posterior, the arthrokinematic motion is opposite. It's moving anteriorly to accommodate that motion. Okie doke. Let's do the shoulder now. So we've got a scapula. You can't quite see it, but behind it there, we do have the best I could do at showing a glenoid fossa. Pardon me. And we're going to look at flexion. I already kind of drew the notes here, but so just visualizing it, following along, we can show open kinetic chain rotation. And if I were to just keep going, I'm going to have some intersection here with these protrusions with our acromion process and our, not necessarily the coracoid process, but we are sliding up, and you can also kind of see this outline is sliding up and away and out of there. So musculature helps us here to keep this pulled down. The head of the humerus pulled into the socket of the glenoid fossa. So as we are having that kind of osteokinematic motion forward, our arthrokinematic motion is going down and back. So in this case, once again, going back, seeing that the rule is functional, the osteokinematic motion is anterior, and the arthrokinematic motion is posterior. That is, one thing is going forward, the other one is kind of going back. The arm is kind of going up, but the head of the humerus is being pulled down. They are in opposite directions. So, in terms of the rule, we have a convex surface, the head of the humerus, that round surface, moving against the concave surface of the glenoid fossa, the hollow socket. So as we have the convex moving against the concave, the osteo and arthrokinematic motions are opposite. They are opposing so that they can accommodate that secure fit. So just to pop that open right there, we see that this is moving down and back as this arm is going forward or up. And let's reset back to neutral and not make all of our layers visible. Pardon. This one's kind of like theoretical, right? We're not necessarily going to see a whole lot of scapula moving relative to humerus situations here. Let's reset these so they're centered. But bear with me, just on a theoretical basis, we should be able to figure how this will work then. If I had the concave surface of the glenoid fossa on the scapula moving relative to a fixed convex surface like the head of the humerus. In theory, if I have a concave surface moving on a convex surface, they should be the same direction. As one goes back and away, the other should also go down and back, right? So, just as before, you see I'm going to have to kind of shift as we go in order to keep these things kind of centered. So as I am doing this closed kinetic chain motion, the scapula is moving this way, and to keep it in socket, the humerus is being pulled back and this way. They are both being pulled towards the posterior side in order to keep things connected. This is helped me a little bit to think about. I hope it has helped you. This is not the only joint, obviously, that we have. We have many, but we will be able to add more illustrations and stuff if needed. Thank you. Have a good day.